Continuing our journey with the sum of two modulus functions, and this time with a little twist. There is a coefficient of x, and that means the way I was approaching the problems is not going to work, but the key points will remain the same, and a very easy adjustment, a very basic level step will help me see that how I need to change the process. So for example, from this modulus, if I take the 2 common out, I can rewrite the same thing as 2 into x, 2 into mod of x minus 3 by 2, because once you multiply you will get a 2x, and once you multiply it to this you will get a 3. So you're taking a 2 out, and just think of it conceptually, don't worry about positive, negative, etc. This much will be enough to get you started. And then this is the same as mod of x plus 5, because there is nothing new here. Start plotting the locations of the houses, right? So this is one location, 3 by 2, or simply 1.5 is one location. The other location is going to be minus 5, right? So pretty much the same operation, but I have to pay attention to the equation, and let's see what is happening here. So x is still my meeting point. I'm still thinking in the same metaphor, in the same story. X is the meeting point. The distance of meeting point from this location, yes, but that distance in this story is getting multiplied by 2. So how do I adjust it in the story? Okay, I say A lives here and B and C, two people live here. That means wherever you go from here, these two will move together all the time. Why am I doing this? Because remember, this is the distance from 3 by 2. I want twice of that. So if I know the friend traveling method anyway, so just extending to double it, I add one more friend here. So that is the only adjustment that you have to make in the story. Take the coefficient out common, rewrite the equation, and now if there is a 2, there are two friends hanging at this point. Now I can run the same analysis all over again. For example, if I take A and I take him to this location, the overall distance covered by A would be 5 units to 0 and then 1.5. The total distance covered would be 6.5. What does this mean? Remember, repeat, revise. If you put x is equal to 1.5, B and C live here only A has travelled and he has travelled 6.5 units. Put 1.5 in the equation and you will find the output will come out as 6.5 total, right? So because I'm already familiar with the story, I don't want to spend too much time with the story. I straight away want to apply now. I know the idea. Why there are two friends at this point? Because I'm multiplying the distance by 2. So how do I accommodate in the story? I say, okay, there are two friends. They always move together. So that distance will get multiplied by 2. So that is the only adjustment. Now I'm playing the same game as before. What if both B and C come to this point? The distance is again 6.5. B will do 6.5, C will also do 6.5. So if B and C come here, the total distance covered by B and C would be 6.5 plus 6.5, the total would be 13. Again, what does this mean? That if you put x is equal to minus 5 in the story, that means the meeting is happening at minus 5, or the input for this function is minus 5. Put the value and you will see the output will come out as overall 13, right? Or it's just visible to me anyway. Each guy 6.5, twice of that is 13. And just to play with the game a little more, what if they meet at 0? A would have done a distance of 5 units. B and C would have done a distance of 1.5 each. That means a total of 3. So 5 and 3, 8. So I see that in this story, the minimum was at 6.5 when I take A there, because B and C are not moving at all. And connect it again to what you know. If you think of A moving here or meeting at least with one of B or C, you will see that the 6.5 distance will definitely be there. And then on top of that, you can think of the second friend, right, or the third friend in the story. So any A meeting with, let's say, just meeting with B, 6.5 is going to happen for sure. So the minimum point is 6.5 in this range, overall 6.5, and in this range I'm going up to 13. What I wanted was 17. So now I'm back to that story. Take A to this point. So now A, B and C are all at this point. B and C were already here. A has travelled here and has done a distance of 6.5. This question is saying that the total distance should be 17. I have done a distance of 6.5. That means the remaining distance is 17 minus 6.5. That means the total distance remaining is 10.5. And where is this distance coming from? Even from this point, imagine the meeting happens at x. Now A will go from this point to here, B will go from this point to here, and C will also go from this point to here. That means this total 10.5 should be divided by 3, and that should be added to 1.5, because this distance is 10.5 by 3. Solve this. 10.5 by 3 will give you a 3.5. Add 3.5 to 1.5 and you will reach x is equal to 5. Check. 5 plus 5, 10. 2 5s are 10 minus 3, 7. 10 plus 7 will give you 17. Perfect. So again, the second part of the story was pretty much the same. That means the only thing new was, if there is a coefficient, take the coefficient out, rewrite the root as whatever is the effect of taking the coefficient out, and then it becomes two friends at that particular house location. Beyond that, whatever has happened, we have already done. So in case you're missing a step or losing concentration, etc., that is a separate issue. But conceptually, we have covered it earlier. What is the game to be played from this point onwards, or revisit the previous sessions. Is that the only answer? No. I have also figured out what happens when B and C come to this point. All of A, B and C are standing at this point, and I know when that happens, B travels 6.5, C travels 6.5, total travel is 13. And my total required for this story is 17. That means I have 4 more units to play with. Where is the meeting? Here is the meeting. Each person will travel the same distance. That means that remaining 4 should be divided by 3. So what I will get is a 1.33. So from minus 5, if you go 1.33 in this direction, you will get a minus 6.33. Check with the story, you can always confirm, and it feels very, very good. Put a 2 into 6.33 here. 2 6 are 12, and 2 into 0.33 will give you a 0.66. So you're getting a 12.66, a minus 12.66. Add a minus 12.66 and a minus 3. So the sum becomes a minus 15.66. And there is a mod. So finally, out of all of this, you will get a 15.66 after the mod function. Plus, you have a minus 6.33 and you have a plus 5. You will be left with a minus 1.33. So inside the mod, you will have a minus 1.33. Take a mod of that. That means you will be left with a plus 1.33. 15.66 plus 1.33, 17. Boom. All the gods are showering flowers on you because you got the answer right? So again, once again, this is just like one example to understand the process, that once there was an extra coefficient, how did the story change? The only change was new friends. After that, this game going in this direction, what is the minimum, maximum, we have already looked at earlier. And again, don't worry, as we hit the exercise, plenty of this repetition will happen over and over again. So think of this as example 0 or example 1 to get the process started. One more example, obviously and always makes it better. Take the 3 out, you will be left with the mod of x minus 2. Don't think about complications, keep it simple. And this will be 2.5. This is equal to 15. Quickly think of the locations, or what are the house points, where do people live? They live at, one person lives at 2, not one person. One location is 2 and the other location is minus 2.5. Why did I stop myself from saying not one person? Because I know already this means 3 people are living at this point, and this means 2 people or 2 friends are living at this particular point. So that means A and B, right? 2 people live here, and C, D and E live at this point. Again, the naming is not important. After a couple of examples, you will realize that this naming is just for communication purposes, adding color to the story. The idea is there are 2 moving points here and there are 3 moving points here. And I want the sum to be 15. What should I do? First of all, obviously I should try and see what happens when I move everyone here. A, B and C, D, E are here. C, D, E live here only. What I can also do, by the way, is this is nothing but saying x is equal to 2, put it here quickly, get it out. But just for fun, 2.5 to 2, the distance is 4.5. 2 people, 4.5 into 2, the total distance would be 9. So check, if you put 2, you will get the sum as 9. So if you reach this point, the total distance covered is 9. You want to do 15. That means you want 6 more units to be covered. 6 more unit between 5 people. 6 divided by 5 will give you 1.2. That means from this 2, you have to go 1.2 more and your answer would be 3.2. I'm deliberately going a little faster because ideally the idea is already in place. Now we want to see it in action quickly, right? So at x is equal to 3.2, if you put 3.2 in this story, you should get a sum of 15. Check the process for yourself as well. What if C, D, E move here? All three of them move here. 4.5 into 3 is going to give you 13.5. So if all of them come here, 13.5 distance is already covered. The total what you wanted was 15. That means you're left with 1.5. 15 minus 13.5 is going to give you 1.5. And there are 5 people. 1.5 divided by 5. Why am I dividing it by 5? Why am I dividing equally? Because they're now all here. The meeting is going to happen at this point. All of them, A, B, C, D, E, will do the same distance. So that's why everyone would do the same distance. Add them up and you get 1.5. Therefore, divided by 5. Or in case you have forgotten, A will do A. B will also do A distance only. C will also do A. So you will get a 5A. And you know 5A is 1.5. Right? Again, why am I slowing down? Just for that one person who might have forgotten this, right? So 1.5 divided by 5 gives you 0.3. And minus 2.5, 0.3 in this direction will give you minus 2.8. So check for yourself before you wreck your process. Put minus 2.8 into the story and figure out whether it's 15 or not. And in case it is not, in case I have made an error, the error might be in calculation. So what you do is you sit with yourself again after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes and try out the story again. Or if you can find another equation like this or create it by yourself and then just play around with it, right? That means get more comfortable. The idea is if you spend half an hour more, you will master the process. If you try 10 more questions and if you do it for 2 days only, then though there will be no doubts chances of failure left anyway in such a property, right? So that's it. Again, I'll stop right now. I think we have understood the process and then tried out an extra example for that extra consolidation.